Welcome to the show, Andre Pittmon. You've enjoyed a successful career in the film, TV, and music business, including roles in marketing, distribution, PR, producing, and directing. You began your journey in the entertainment business attending Hollywood High USC School of Music, and while in high school, you entered a work-study program with Warner Brothers Studios in the film and PR marketing distribution department, managing Warner Brothers theatrical contracts. There's loads to talk with you about, Andre. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do
You're
tell us
welcome.
more.
Thank you for having me. Typically living in LA, and Skyler will attest to that. Either you're going to be in TV, music, or radio or something like that. So, fortunately, I was able to be in all of it. I went to Hollywood High School, and the studios. This is how they recruit. They come to the school and say, "Look, you can get out of school at 10 o'clock, and you can start your career in film and music." And I said, "I can get us to go to 10 o'clock." and, and then they said, "Yeah, but you can start your career." And I'm like, 10 o'clock for sure. So I bought it. I went for it, and I went to Warner Brothers Studios, and my life changed like the scene in The Wizard of Oz, from black and white to color.
Wow. Wow, man. You know, I tell people about your story of you doing Malcolm X, and you was talking about Spike Lee was out front. Can you tell us how that happened? Because it's so cool.
I was working in film distribution, domestic film distribution, and marketing publicity, and I was the only man that looked like me in that Spike Lee had parked his car in front of the building, in front of the Warner building, and just sat there for 2 hours and was watching people cross the street. So we were doing Malcolm X. I was in charge of doing the red green lighting of films. Now that means we're gonna either release your film, we're gonna yellow light it. That means it won't be released, or we're gonna red light it. It's like basically like Vanna White flips those cards back
Yeah.
in the day before computers. That's what I had to do to let everybody know when your film is going to come out. So my boss, the head of Warner Brothers Distribution Worldwide, I was in my office. He called me. He said, "Andre, come in here." And I'm like, "Oh, what did I do wrong?" I went over my mind. I was like, I did the release schedule really right. Maybe they pushed a film back. The crown heads of Warner Brothers were in the conference room. I walked in, and all of a sudden I heard, "Is that it?" And I said, looked, and I said, "That is what?" And my boss said, "Yes, this is your publicist for Malcolm X." And I looked at my boss, and I'm like, "I'm a what?" Because there was no black publicist at all. And Spike Lee saying, "I need a black publicist for Malcolm X." And he said, "This is your publicist." And I'm like, "Oh wow, okay." So I thank Spike Lee for getting me that job. I mean, and ever since then, I was a publicist for the rest of the films that were coming out. And I'm grateful, but I was very afraid about that. But we got together and did it.
And it was successful.
Yeah, it was a successful release, and he was happy because what happens is when we do premieres and everybody walks down the red carpet, we use a lot of actors that Hollywood did not know who these black artists. For instance, we did a film called JFK. Ice-T and Ice Cube was in the film because we used their music. They didn't know who they were, and they weren't taking any pictures of them on the red carpet. So I had to go down there and walk them down the carpet because they didn't know Ice-T from Ice Cube at that time. It's a lot of things that go on behind a premiere and all this stuff. Nobody sees what goes on, but it goes on, and there's a lot of function that goes on behind the curtain in a premiere and a major studio.
It must be great just you standing there, people getting out of their car, and you the first one to talk to them, right?
Yeah, well, when they're getting out of the car, if you notice on the limousine where the rearview mirror is, there's a number on that rearview mirror. That means that's assigned to certain actors that are coming or arriving.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like the air traffic controller of the red carpet, telling everybody who's coming in and who's coming out, and who's coming out of the limousine and who's there because we got their seats ready for them inside.
You also are a serious entrepreneur. You have your own record label.
Yeah, well, yes, I do. I started a label about 6 years ago. It's called Enthroned Records. And thanks to you, Skyler, you gave me some advice and I followed it. And I got a distribution deal with Universal Music UK. And so we're distributing our records around the country. And we got Pat Hodges, who was with Motown. Hodges James Smith was Mickey Stevenson, and I got her signed. She's got a single called "Love Revolution," and
Okay.
nothing beats hate but love. And so we need a love revolution around the world, and I'm really really excited about that song. We also have Latrice Lawrence, who has a new single out called "Taking It Back," and she did a single called Ave Maria, which is not, it's the Caccini version of Ave Maria, and which is a wonderful piece, wonderful piece.
Yeah. The other thing is, a lot of people don't know you're a singer as well.
Well, that's what I started at. I went to Hollywood High School, and I would skateboard down to Sunset Boulevard from A&M to Electra Asylum, which is right across the street where the IHOP is. I was getting out of school early, and a lady named Linda Clay over at A&M Records, which is right around the corner. I befriended her. She was in mastering. But that particular day, they needed somebody to sing background. And I'm like, she said, "Hey, kid, come over here and sing this part." And I sang all three parts because all the rest of the background part of the singers didn't show up. So that rolled into other gigs as far as singing, background session singing. But the parts weren't there when I got there. So I had to arrange them, make the background parts up. Just like you do, but you do it effortlessly. And I don't know your secret, but I love the sound and I love your approach. Everybody has a different approach. But and then I went, you go down Motown, which is on Sunset, and it was on Sunset and Vine, right? Right back at that time. And you were right around that corner somewhere. You were recording somewhere in that area, Skyler, right?
Oh, a lot around by Solar. I had my place in North Hollywood, and then I moved to Alabama. Even though I kept my place, I moved to Alabama for 2 years with the Commodores, right? 82 and 83. I was living with Ronald LaPrade, the bass player of the Commodores, who wrote Brick House.
As we've touched on already, Andre, you have done and had kind of chance to do so many different things: production, directing. We just mentioned the kind of record company that you now have. Where does the future see you going more into the kind of record area, or what's the future hold for you?
Actually, doing the company as a production company as well, and music, film, and television. Producing my own original films and original scripts and stuff like that because of my background and at Warner Brothers. It's to work at a major studio, from the inside out, is the knowledge is priceless.
Yeah,
and it's never ending. And it was a blessing for me to be there. I mean, just to even walk on the scores stages, to watch them score films was a education for me in itself. For instance, for Steven Spielberg, when he was doing Jaws, that shark, it was a machine, and it hardly worked during production. So it would break down all the time, and so he would have to use music and the composer to compensate for the shark in the water. For instance, when you hear, when the lady's swimming in the camera's on the actor swimming, and then the shark is not working again because I don't know why it was just not working all the time, but they wanted they wanted fear, and they wanted to know that the shark was coming. So instead of using the shark, they used instruments, and so the composer came up with dun 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 dun, and the audience was like, oh my god, and they you didn't see a shark, but you heard the music. So that's how the marriage of film and music is such a wonderful marriage, and will always be inseparable.
Absolutely.
That's right. I'm so happy about your label, man, because there's so much talent out here that people, up and coming talent that needs to be seen, and you giving them a chance. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I thank you, and you as my big brother, and you've always inspired me, and I've always was listening to your music even years and years ago, and I never realized that I wanted to be a record executive until there was a need. Now I do have an artist that has a hip hop gospel single out, and I'm not a hip hop label. However, I hear one, and this song is for Gen X's, Gen Z's, millennials, because when you go to church and you see the parishioners in the audience, and you see a sea of white hair, that means that church is not gonna progress or live. And for some reason, we need to appeal to younger people to come back, or in their own way, just like Kirk Franklin and Mary and all those contemporary gospel artists that use R&B tracks under their contemporary lyrics. That's how they get them in.
You can connect your music to film because you still have relationships, right?
Absolutely. Latrice Lawrence does a lot of film scoring. So, when I run into a lot of producers out here, like, you walk down the street and run into a producer or an actor or somebody, right? And they're always doing films. And I asked them, I said, well, what did you do with your score? And they're like, what? I'm like, you do need a score for your film, or it's going to be like a silent movie, and so it does help. So they're like, oh, we didn't think of that. And I'm like, okay, well, here we go. Here's my label, my artist. She performed with Barbara Streisand and did her Timeless tour and did all these things, all these wonderful things. And we're really excited about, entering in all those different genres of filmmaking via music.
Tried to get you on the show before, Andre, and it's fantastic that you've managed to get on the show with us.
I'm so glad.
How do people get hold of you? I mean, if I was a budding sort of musical artist, maybe, or somebody wanting to get into your label, how would I get in touch with you, and how do I see what you guys are doing? How do people find you?
You can just reach me at all the media, Facebook, IG, all over the place. Just look up Enthroned Records, or just punch in my name.
All right, brilliant. What we'll do, Andre, is I'll put all those links that you've mentioned, all those ways that I can find, I'll put them in the description of the video here, so people can watch this video and then get in touch with you, and hopefully it'll grow and grow, and you'll be inundated with people.
I'd appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Who were some of your social conscious music heroes?
Oh man, I mean, you're taking me back to the '60s and all these rock singers. Joan Baez. There's so many that come in my mind that I can't even call their names, but I stand on their shoulders because of peace and putting piece together. There's so many of these artists that come before us that stood on that platform for justice.
Wow, brother. Well, listen, bless you for the privilege of your time.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Andre.
And thank
you
for coming on, brother.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.